Ladies and gentlemen, thank you as always for tuning into the channel. We have some breaking news for you guys that I want to jump right into, along with some updates in regards to FTX. We have another exchange that appears to be experiencing some major liquidity issues. Genesis Exchange is seeking $1 billion by Monday. We don't know the specifics as to why they're seeking such a large amount of money. But of course, guys, if you do have your funds on Genesis Exchange, it would be a smart move to withdraw those funds while withdrawals are still open on the platform. You'd rather be safe than sorry. So I do want to jump right into that. But first, I want to discuss some of the updates that we have for FTX over the past couple of days. This story keeps getting crazier and crazier. I honestly, it gets overwhelming at times, to be honest. First off, these are some of the new developments we have. FTX, a $32 billion company that was their valuation last year, never had any board meetings the entire time their company was in operation. That's pretty bonkers, guys. This seems like more of a shell company, if anything. This really is just insane. On top of that, many employees SBF, the CEO himself, employed were fake the entire time. So the team behind FTX was much smaller than it appeared to be. Also, we were discussing that the FTX exchange was hacked a couple days ago, and we really had no definitive proof of who hacked the exchange. Was it SBF? Was it someone else that just happened to get their hands on the remaining funds? Well, it turns out that it was SBF the entire time, and he was required by the Bahamas government to hack the exchange through a back door and withdraw the $600 million to give to the Bahamian government. I don't know how that's even realistic and why the United States isn't doing anything about it. I mean, yes, FTX is based in the Bahamas, so maybe the US doesn't necessarily have jurisdiction when it comes to those funds on FTX, but if any of those funds were taken from FTX US, that definitely gets allows the ability for the US to step in with the Bahamian government. But this is just getting insane, guys. I mean, I've personally been to the Bahamas, and there's no doubt that there is corruption there. I mean, it's quite sad to see. I mean, of course, you can see this anywhere in the world, but it is quite sad to see since a hurricane back in 2017, a large majority of the country still doesn't have electricity, yet you have police officers left and right driving brand new Chargers, and government officials have no worries in the world. So again, that happens everywhere in the world, but it was definitely noticeable when I visited there about a year and a half ago, and I honestly am not surprised the government did something like this or forced SBF to do something like this. But at the same point, it's like, what the hell is going on in this world? Also, customers' funds were used to buy SBF's real estate in the Bahamas. I believe his mansion that he has in the Bahamas is roughly $30 to $40 million, and it is up for sale now. But yeah, supposedly that was purchased with users' funds. And then on top of that, advisors say fraud is far worse than Enron, which was another major scandal a couple years back. A lot of people are saying this is absolutely unprecedented. I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing this FTX scandal all over the news now, mainly right-leaning news channels. Like we talked about in the last episode, there's no doubt that the Democratic Party and the left-leaning media are really trying to make this seem like it's not that big of a deal. And I'm not trying to make this about left or right, but it's so obvious what they're doing. I mean, there was a article put out by Forbes praising SBF's girlfriend, and as we talked about in the last video, there was many interviews with SBF over the past week where, you know, they're making SBF look like the victim. And it's quite obvious they're doing this because he had such close ties to the Biden administration. He's the second largest donor. And on top of that, there's also this scandal with Ukraine funneling money through FTX for money laundering with some politicians in the Democratic Party. So this honestly probably goes much, much deeper than it's already gone. And yeah, guys, it's just getting insane, and I'm doing my personal best to keep up with it. But like I said, I don't know about you, but this is getting so overwhelming. So next up, I want to briefly go over this issue with Genesis Exchange. So out of nowhere, Genesis Exchange announced that they are seeking $1 billion in emergency funding. So first off, if you guys use Genesis, it would definitely be a smart idea to withdraw your funds from that exchange while withdrawals are still open. Don't take any chances because this news did drop about an hour before the recording of this video. But on top of that, so DCG is the parent company of Genesis. And a lot of people are saying that they're actually the most significant company in crypto due to their deep ties into Bitcoin. And as we know, they are a subsidiary of Genesis, and they lent a lot of money through Three Arrows Capital, which we also know went bankrupt. So DCG might be strapped for cash now because Three Arrows went under, and it looks like Genesis is also having some issues because DCG, again, the parent company, also bailed out Genesis with about $1.4 billion as well. So Genesis had $50 billion of loans in Q4 of 2021, and we don't know where they currently stand with their loans. But that's the issue we're really starting to see with a lot of these exchanges or just crypto companies in general. Their liabilities are much higher than their assets, or just their revenue in general. So this is, again, still developing. We definitely need to pay close attention to this because they do hold a good chunk of GBTC, which is, you know, Genesis wrapped version of Bitcoin, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, guys, that's what's going on right now. I definitely recommend, again, that you get your money off of Genesis Exchange. Quite honestly, I don't blame you guys for getting your money off of all exchanges right now. I personally still utilize an exchange here and there for easy access to my funds, some of my funds, in order to make daily purchases, pay my rent, stuff like that. But having everything on an exchange probably isn't too smart with everything going on right now in the space. So let me know what you guys think about this breaking news. It's just another day in crypto, and quite honestly, I think it's safe to say probably 3 years from now, I'm going to say 2 years from now, we're going to be looking back at all this mayhem and honestly being thankful that all this happened. Not so much thankful that, you know, people lost their life savings, because that is completely unfortunate, but more so the fact that we were able to accumulate cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin at these levels that we're currently seeing them at. So a little optimism for you guys there, and that is that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next.